I was born a Catholic. I was baptized at 2 months, had my first communion at 9 years, and was confirmed at 14. And yet, after all that, I don't believe in God. At least, not fully. Religion is belief. No religion can be proven right, and no religion can be proven wrong. My religion is my life. There's much more worth in my life, much more to be present in, than spending time trying to prove a religion to myself. Instead of thinking about what higher power could be controlling us, I like to live by my own higher power. If I believe I am doing something wrong, it is because I have decided it is wrong, and not because some higher power disapproves of my actions. I'm what you would call agnostic. By definition, an agnostic person is a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence of God or of anything beyond natural phenomena. I respect that other people view this differently, though. After all, most of my family is Catholic. My mom believes in God as naturally as she breathes. Even with our differing views, we live in the same house, eat the same meals, and share the same love. I still celebrate Christmas with my family, and there is no less love between us, even if I don't believe in their God. It was a point of contention at first, because my family found it hard to comprehend that I didn't believe. But was I really the only agnostic they knew? After some research, I found that only 4% of Americans identify as agnostic, so really, there was no wonder to why they didn't understand, especially since they had gone through so much with God at their side. They wondered who would lead me to become a good person, and later they would realize I just am a good person, even if God had a hand in it. But as time goes on, I hope to prove that I'm a strong enough person with a strong enough support that I didn't need a God to fall back to. I don't need a heaven to look forward to when I have my life here. It wasn't always like this. As a child, I wanted to believe in God. I really did, but time spent praying in church every Sunday felt like a waste. And I felt guilty, like I was cheating my mom into believing I was who she wanted me to be, until it was time to tell her. The events surrounding me coming clean about my beliefs are unclear, but I do remember being in the car when my mom asked me if I really believed in God. She had asked me this question before, but I always resorted to, maybe. I just have my doubts. But this time, it was time to tell all. I could tell she was hurt, and after the conversation, both of us in tears, we just needed some time away from the topic. Telling a loved one the true way you want to live your life is no easy feat. The next day, we were back to our normally scheduled routines, and over the next few weeks, the topic had come back in bits and pieces until my mom was ready to ask me to clarify my beliefs. It was a tense, yet calming conversation. I felt free to say everything I believed in, but there were still times where I felt like my mom would condemn my way of thinking. But if anything, she was more curious, trying to understand why I believed in the things I did. She didn't agree with everything, but she slowly understood that I just had a different view of the world. And as humans, we are all different, but we must learn to accept and try to understand things we may not agree with, because in the end, we are fundamentally the same. My relationship with my mom now isn't perfect, but it is leaps and bounds from where we had been. And I try to make the best decisions for myself, but it is easier to talk to her when she recognizes the different opinions and beliefs I have. Our everyday lives are not affected by these differences. There's still the occasional motherly scolding, and now I know it comes from a place of love, and now greater understanding.
But what responsibility do we have to others who, like us, are still formulating their beliefs? Even with the level of certainty I have about my beliefs, I was scared that, as I whispered my doubts behind closed bedroom doors, with dolls in her hands, my sister felt inclined to believe whatever her older sister did, instead of coming to her own conclusions. However, as much as we need to have faith in ourselves, we must have faith in our loved ones to pave their own path, and have the courage to give them their space and make them feel accepted. Now, my sister has a girlfriend, and I wouldn't ever regret saving her from a time of misery, from a time where she would doubt her feelings. My younger self would be in awe. But then again, my prayers to God always sounded more like a conversation I had with my sister or my friends, rather than a formal request.
All that devotion, all that time my family puts into loving God is the same devotion, the same time I put into the people around me. I didn't need God to tell me to love my friends, to love my family. I didn't need God to tell me to feel bad when I lied to my parents or when I stole a toy from my sister. I did it all on my own. I was my own God. Smaller, yes, but no less mighty. I never believed my mom was wrong in her belief, though. Her God is her God. And if she truly believes, which she does, she knows that her God made me just the way I was supposed to be. And yet, there's still a part of me that is a little bothered that I won't ever figure out who's truly right, though. But that's probably my competitive streak talking. But I might die and become nothing, be reborn into another life, or find myself at the gate of heaven or hell, depending on how loving and forgiving that